Yo, dividend investing has yet again paid me over $100 a month just to do nothing. And so this is a video that's a part of that ongoing series. It started January of 2023, now more than 2 years ago. And so what I do in these videos is give you an update on everything that I bought and sold, everything that I got in terms of dividends, what that return is, what that translates to. If my money was an employee working for me 40 hours per week, every single week, how many dollars per hour would it be paying me to have this employee in terms of these dollars, and then also the plans for the future months. So let's get into it. February was boring in terms of new buys. I didn't buy or sell anything. I also didn't get any new referrals from Robinhood. Tears. No, just kidding. I don't need you guys to use the links. I need you to watch the videos and share them with your friends and hopefully learn something and hopefully have a good time. Next month, March, I do have some interesting buys in store. So wait for those. But in the meantime, here are all the dividends I got. Some of the usual suspects: JEPI, JEPQ, AGNC, PSEC, our old friend SPHD coming through with the Big Daddy $47 this month. And that gives us a total of $103.06. Not too shabby. That's either several burritos or not even one tire from one race car. But, you know, we're saving up here. Actually, I wonder if that's a metric I should add. Every month I could say what the dividends are equal to in numbers of burritos or in fractions of race car. All right, I did it. We built it just for fun. Because if I'm talking about it, I'm going to do it. So this month, the number of burritos that I got in terms of dividends was 11 and a half. Let me know if you agree with my math though. I'm figuring $9 per burrito. Is that about right for you in terms of a burrito cost? Not like the cheapest burrito out there, but also not some bougie $19 burrito. Maybe we'll have to adjust it in the future. Let me know in a comment what the average price of a burrito worth salivating for is. Also, this number is pretty much always going to be remaining small, but what does this give us in terms of the fraction of a race car? $103 by my calculations is only 0.41% of a race car, because for me, even the cheapest race car that I think would be sorted, put together well, actually ready to race is probably 25 grand. So $103 out of 25 grand is only 0.41%. But in the future, that could go up. Ooh, I just thought of another metric. How many months would we need to wait at this rate to buy the race car? Now we've got that math. That's a long time to wait. 243 months. Too long to wait. So that means that our only option then is to make more money in dividends so we can buy a race car sooner. There we go. Speaking of making more money, our return this month was 0.34%, which is not amazing, but it's just this month's return. If we extrapolate that out for a whole year, that's a 4.03% return. Again, still not amazing because you can get that much in a savings account with no risk and no nothing. But this is a middle month in between those big fat quarterly paychecks that come, and so it's not indicative of the overall average I expect to get this year, but it's still only okay. Now, my second favorite metric, now that we've done the burrito and race car metric, I love that we just thought of that together, is the full-time job employee pay rate situation. And this is based on a 160-hour working month, and it gives us 64 cents per hour. So if this was a person out there instead of dollars, and they were working for me, they'd be making me 64 cents per hour. I can't wait to get to $1 per hour. We will get there. So that means that the total contributions that I've put into this account, including money I've gotten from referrals from people signing up for Robinhood, is $30,368. Thus far this year, I've gotten $207.59 in dividends, and the overall dividend return that's given me is 0.68%. But that only takes into account these first 2 months of the year. So this isn't going to be a complete figure until we get all of the dividends for the whole year in there. And speaking of incomplete viewpoints of things, this is one of the charts that I built, and it's only given us the first 2 months of the year. So I'm really excited whenever this fills out with a few more years of information and it kind of like casts the trajectory of our return. But for right now, we only have that tiny little blue line right there. That's all we can see. We're right around 4%. Hopefully it... And this is strictly the dividend return. This isn't the overall total return. Like whenever you open your investing app, if you're using Robinhood, it shows you total return. This is strictly my tracking of the dividends only return. And a much more satisfying chart is this one, which is our monthly dividend amount. And you can see that it's grown a lot. You know, I transferred in a bunch of money right before this one hit, and so it looks like a big step up, but it wasn't like I became a magical investor and now all of a sudden I make money out of thin air. It's not that. I'm not Harry Potter with dividends. It's that I transferred a bunch of money in, so the dividends went up. But it's cool to see it reaching new peaks, you know, those big quarterly payers when they hit $148, $192, $200. So I'm hoping that when April comes, we get a new peak. You know, we should hit the highest point we've ever been, and hopefully it's right around here in the mid 200s, 220, 230, 240, something like that. That's a much bigger fraction of a race car. In terms of future plans, something that I want to continue to learn, actually two things that I want to keep doing. Number one, I want to keep reading the dividend books that I bought like a year and a half ago. Whenever I first started this journey, I bought 3 different dividend books, plan to read them all and then give you like a summary video so that you wouldn't have to necessarily read them. I've still not finished the first book even. It's pretty dry. I mean, as you would expect, right? An investing book is not going to be the most exciting thing. It's not a court of thorns and roses. Tamlin's not out there slaying people and doing crazy stuff, but I'm hoping that it can inform my strategy going forward, which is part 2, which is I want to learn more about specific dividend paying companies or ETFs that have the best tax treatment. The problem with some dividend paying companies and ETFs and things that I've already invested in is that the dividends that you get are not treated very favorably when it comes to taxes. And granted, nothing's going to be that horrible. And what I mean by that is that some of the cash that you're getting is basically treated like ordinary income. And that's kind of the worst way that you can make money. Instead of that, if you can have dividends that are taxed more like long-term investments, then you stand to pay a lot less money in taxes, keep more money, and keep that snowball rolling and rolling and rolling. So it's one of those kind of tricky things because it can look like maybe you're making a lot of money with dividends, but then if tax time rolls around and you get shafted because of the kind of income that you're making, well, your return isn't anywhere near as good as you think it is. So that's something that I want to purify and learn going forward so that all my investments are pretty tax optimized. One caveat to that plan, though, is that you're supposed to, when you're doing this, have different investing accounts that you might want to put these dividend funds in. So you might want to have a taxable brokerage account for a certain kind of ETF or dividend stock. And then you might want to have like a tax advantaged account, like a Roth IRA or something, so that you don't pay those taxes. Like once the money is in there and it's making money on itself, you're kind of exempt from those taxes. So maybe you have something that's like really promising, but you would get absolutely hosed on the taxes. Well, you can just bury it in a Roth. My plan is to only have this one dividend investing account. It is like my focus. This is the dividend investing account. I'm not trying to dividend invest everywhere else. So I could be crippled a bit in that way in terms of my overall efficiency, but just so you know, that's the plan going forward. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.